For 35 years, Linda believed she knew the man she married. They had built a life together, raised 2 children, shared holidays, birthdays, and thousands of quiet evenings in the same home. To everyone around them, Linda and Mark looked like the perfect couple, the kind of marriage people admire: stable, predictable, safe. And at 58 years old, Linda believed the hardest parts of life were already behind them. But sometimes, the life we believe in the most is the one hiding the deepest secrets. Life before the change. Linda and Mark met when they were both in their early 20s. Back then, everything felt simple. They had very little money, but they had dreams. Mark was ambitious and charming. Linda was calm, patient, and deeply loyal. They married young and built everything together from the ground up: a small house, 2 children, careers that slowly grew over the years. Linda had always been the steady one in the relationship, the one who kept the house warm, the family organized, and life moving forward. And Mark had always been dependable, or at least that's what Linda believed. The first strange changes. It started with small things, the kind of things that are easy to ignore. Mark began coming home later from work. At first, it seemed reasonable. "Just a busy week," he would say. Linda didn't question it. After 35 years of marriage, you don't assume the worst. But the late nights continued. Then something else changed. Mark suddenly became very protective of his phone. He used to leave it on the kitchen counter without a second thought. Now it was always in his pocket, or face down on the table, or suddenly locked with a new password. Linda noticed, but she said nothing, because sometimes the idea of asking the question feels more frightening than the answer. Growing suspicion. Weeks turned into months. Mark began caring more about his appearance. New shirts, a different haircut, even a new cologne Linda had never smelled before. At first, Linda told herself she was imagining things. People change. Life evolves. Maybe Mark simply wanted to feel younger as retirement approached. But something deep inside her felt unsettled. Not angry, not jealous, just uneasy. Still, 35 years of love creates a powerful kind of trust, the kind that convinces you nothing could ever truly go wrong. The night everything changed. One quiet evening, Linda sat alone in the living room. Mark had told her he would be late again, a work dinner. Linda decided to organize some old family photos on the computer. She wanted to make a digital album for their daughter. While scrolling through folders, she noticed something unusual. A folder she didn't recognize. It had no name, just a series of numbers. Curious, Linda clicked it. And in that moment, her entire world quietly shifted. Inside the folder were dozens of photos. Photos of Mark, but not the Mark she knew. These photos showed him smiling beside another woman, at restaurants, at a beach, even standing in front of a small apartment building Linda had never seen before. The timestamps on the photos told a story Linda wasn't prepared for. This hadn't started recently. Some of the pictures were nearly 2 years old. 2 years. Linda stared at the screen, her hands suddenly cold. Her first instinct was disbelief. There must be an explanation. There had to be. But deep down, a quiet voice inside her already knew the truth. Confrontation. When Mark came home that night, Linda was still sitting at the table. The computer screen remained open. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She simply asked one question. "Who is she?" For a long moment, Mark said nothing, and in that silence, Linda understood everything. Finally, Mark sat down, and slowly, the truth came out. Yes, he had been seeing someone else. It started during a business conference. What began as a temporary distraction had quietly turned into a second life, a life Linda knew nothing about. For 2 years, Mark had been living between two worlds, two homes, two relationships, two completely different versions of himself. Emotional collapse. Linda didn't scream, she didn't throw anything. Instead, something inside her simply collapsed. 35 years of memories suddenly felt fragile. The vacations, the anniversaries, the quiet nights watching television together. Were any of them real? Or had Mark already been living his secret life during those moments? Linda realized something painful that night. The man she thought she knew better than anyone in the world was actually a stranger. The decision. Over the next few weeks, the house felt unbearably quiet. Mark tried to explain, tried to apologize, tried to convince Linda that he still cared. But something inside Linda had already changed. Trust, once broken after 35 years, is not something easily repaired. And Linda understood something clearly. She deserved honesty. She deserved peace. And she deserved a life that wasn't built on secrets. So eventually, Linda made the hardest decision of her life. She walked away. A new beginning. The divorce wasn't easy. Starting over at 58 never is. But slowly, life began to feel different. Not empty, just open. Linda rediscovered parts of herself she had forgotten years ago. Painting, travel, long walks in quiet parks. And something surprising happened. The pain that once felt unbearable slowly transformed into freedom. Because sometimes the end of a marriage is actually the beginning of your own life. Closing message. 35 years of love ended in a way Linda never expected. But it also taught her something important. The truth may break your heart, but living without the truth slowly breaks your soul. And sometimes, walking away from the life you thought you wanted is the first step toward the life you truly deserve.